I need to make it so that my microphone scales off different scenes. Make it so that my microphone scales off different scenes. Make it so that my microphone scales off different scenes. Make it so that my microphone scales off different scenes. Make it so that my microphone scales off different scenes. Alright, feedback loop destroyed. We're going to be live here. I'm just going to drop a quick Twitter link. And we'll get started. Alright. So this camera fixed up. Good to go. I know you can hear my dog. Alright. Just for anyone who is insane enough to watch the replay, welcome. I am going to be working on my bicycle today, no shit. And I am going to be... I'm going to be doing wheels and my drivetrain. My drivetrain's on the other side, so you can't see it right now. What? I'm not throwing that for you. Come on, she wants me to throw this piece of shingle. I'm throwing shingle for you. Are you crazy? She's crazy. Alright, so we're going to be doing wheels and tires. A lot of stuff to do with wheels and tires. So when you're working on them, first thing you want to do is take them off. So that's going to be a 6mm on the front here for me. Take this axle out. We'll grease this later. Go. Put this off to the side. Have my chain off in the back. We'll get to that, why that is later. That makes it incredibly easy to just whoop. Cool. So, step this trap for a second. Actually, put these sheets in here so it reflects light. There we go. Alright. Cool, so wheels and tires are off. This is what the bike looks like without them. Very riveting, I know. Hello, welcome, viewer. One thing you don't want to do is, while your wheels and tires are off, do not touch your brakes. It'll cause your pistons to extend past where they normally go past. In worst case scenario, you can wind up leaking all your brake fluid that we just bled onto our pads. As a matter of fact, and what you should do is every bike comes with these in the box. They come with these blocks. You can take them and you can put them inside your little brake calipers here between your brake pads. And what they do is they just keep your pads from compressing at all. So now I can squeeze my brakes if I so wanted to. I do not want to. I know that was a nice shot of my ass, but there we go. So now we are going to change the camera over. No, so where did I put my little food container that I brought out? Here we go. We're going to be very scientific here, okay? I have in my possession an old Chinese food container. I forgot I have a fork in there. I can go over here. An old Chinese food container. And we're going to angle down so that we can see what's happening here. And we have my old chain. There's a lot of rust on it. So what we're going to do is put a rag here to kind of try and prevent overspray but not block vision completely. And put this this gonna work? Figuring it out. Yeah, that'll work fine. Do another one. There we go. That should almost work, maybe. We're winging it here. Alright, so now I know you can hear my dog's hot breath. But that's what comes with the territory. Perfect. We're going to take a can of WD-40. And we're going to running out of pressure, which is unfortunate. We're going to soak this. Now, you don't want to use your WD-40 as your actual chain loop because it will pick up a ton of dirt. But when you're covered in rust like this, it's kind of the best option. Remember, kids, always do this at home. There we go. Got a pressure, but there's still plenty of WD-40 left. Go ahead and soak it. We have the master link in there too. We want the whole chain coated in WD-40. Oh, I just got a message. That's my sister. Cool. So we are out of WD-40, but we have the whole thing coated. Gloves here for this exact express purpose. I'll just use one. I'm going to kind of rub it in, flip it over, really moisturize it. You can see, I hope the camera focuses for this, but you can see the rust build up on my road track. So just really let it soak there. Cool. And then this can be closed. And we're going to stop there for that. Alright, cool. Now, as entertaining as that was, we are going to focus on something new. That is going to be wheels and tires. So, the best option for you as a person to work on a tire is going to be put it on a trash can like this. If you have like a big kind of industrial trash can, if it's square mouth, it's kind of more of a pain in the ass, but anything will really do. First step, this, I need to get a light here. Look at that, we're real Twitch streamers now. I've got modular lighting, and that means I have a work light. There we go. So, I know, Maya, you're panting. So, have our tire right here, and I cannot for the life of me find my valve core puller, which is unfortunate, because I really like a good valve core puller. It's a good feeling tool. But, regardless, have our fellow right here. Put this up here so we can get the light. Yeah, look at all that light. We're streaming now. If you don't have a valve core puller, you can, I know my door is a mess, take a set of tweezers or pliers. People will tell you not to do this. They are wrong. Later. They are completely wrong because, as with anything mechanical, you can pretty much do whatever you want as long as you wing it and go slowly. Put this back in front. Perfect. We get on this side of these cables. Hope I'm not blocking all my light. Find your valve. Take your pliers or your core puller very gently. You don't want to mess up the threads. Very gently. You can start to take that off. Lefty loosey this. Let some air out. I'm going to drain all the air out. We're going to be doing pretty big cleaning. Starts to get squishy. Nice. Now, I have cush core in this tire, so this is going to be a pain in the ass, this whole operation. But it is necessary. So, do the old lefty-loosey trick. Come on. I said you do the lefty-loosey trick. So my valve is rotating with, so that means it's just seized a little, so that means we can take a second set of those pliers. Solve any problem if you have enough sets of pliers. Yeah. Now, you might not want to do this if you're worried about messing up your valve core threads. I have about 1 billion valve cores, so I'm not super concerned with that. Then take your hands, push down, and with the cush core, this is really a pain. It's doing its job, right? So you just kind of work it, and it'll eventually start to go like it is now. Break your bead all the way around. I like to do it cassette up because this is locked, but a lot of bikes, your cassette will come off and just be like, you'll have the whole free-hub body fall apart, bits of bearing fall all over your trash can. And if it has trash in it like mine does, which you actually kind of want to weight it a bit, you will be in for a bad day. So pop this up over here. Just keep pop, twist, slide, pop, twist, slide, pop. And now you're at the point. Just run, lever, all the way around. Now this is an older tire. I'd say it's about halfway through its lifespan. So it is not going to be as bad. Like, if you get a downhill casing tire, this is a Minion DHF. I'm using it as a rear wheel, even though it's downhill front, because, fun fact, the Minion DHF is a really good rear tire, but this is a downhill casing, so it has wire bead. The bead will start to stretch as, you ride it and everything, so it gets easier as it goes on, but as of right now, like, this is about halfway, so it's stretchy. But when you first put these on, they're a pain in the ass. So I'm going to reach in. I'm going to pull my cush core out. Now, this is a tire insert that allows me to run lower pressures and not ding up my rim. And I'll show you the dings on my rim once I get this tire off, right? So the tire's going to come off. Perfect. We are going to take our cush core and find a relatively clean place to hang it. I only have a rear cush core. I just don't feel the need to have a front one. It's all personal preference. That's a little weird by a lot of bike standards, but it is by no means a bad thing, right? All right. Cool. So, cush core's off. Now, my cassette's locked on. My free hub body's not coming apart anytime soon, so I'm going to flip it over. Now, if you had a free hub body that was going to come apart, I would pull your cassette off. You can find those in some cheaper models of free hubs where the bearings aren't nearly as good or whatever. So we're going to pop that off. Pop tire. All my sealants is, oh no, that's water? So if you look in here, let me see if I can get this light for you. So if you look inside my tire, see that right there? That fluid? I know it looks like something else, but it is in fact tire sealant. Now the purpose of that, this looks pretty watery. This looks really watery. I'm pretty sure water got into my tire on my drive home, which is unfortunate. But the purpose of the sealant is when you get a puncture, under pressure, your tire will plug the hole. It's kind of like a plasticky, rubbery thing. So I'm going to go dump this in. I actually have a trash can here. I don't know why I was trying to go for my monster can. We're going to take this. Oh, yeah, that's water. That's not good. So we're going to hang tire from handlebar. Right now, I'm going to take a rag. We're going to clean off the rim of our tire here. Our tape. So you want to look at your tape. You can see I have a couple dings and dents here. Nothing to really be worried about. Just kind of the name of the game. Perfect. So rims all clean. We'll deal with this later. This hook right here. I'm just going to hang this from the ladder I'm using as a light stand back here. Cool. So we have our tire. Take our shitty rag we have. We're going to kind of set it down and like try and dump as much of this sealant out as possible before we start to rag it out. Got this right here. We can run it around, really just trying to get as much of the old sealant. Here we go. So this is what happens to old sealant. You get these little nuggets where it kind of coagulates inside the tire. This, you can see, there's like a string on it. Like it is. This is just kind of rubber. The largest one I found was the size of my hand. Someone had never emptied out the sealant from their tire, and it just kind of got super goopy, super nasty. I actually had to like chip it out, and they were all like, "Oh, like my tire's fine, right?" No, sir, it is not. So got this pretty well dried out. I'm gonna let it air more. We're pretty much done with the tire here for like maintenance. I'll put it back on later. And I will have to buy new tires sometime this season, but I could probably get like a couple weeks of riding out of that one. So let's go to the front. Now on my bike, I have a mullet bike, so that was a 27.5 tire, 27.5 inches across. This is a 29, so there's an 1.5 inch difference between the two tires. And you might say, wow, that doesn't sound like a lot, but 1.5 inches can make all the difference in the world, So I've heard. So same process as before. This one doesn't have cush core in it, so I might just aggro take this off. You'll see my bead popping muscles aren't quite what they were last summer when I was at my prime. Last summer I probably did 500 tires, something like that, by myself. So yeah, so we're like at enough air where you can just start to force the speed. There we go. And then let's see how good I am. Yeah, it's not worth the pain. Hi, Maya. See a fly? Just don't knock over any of my stuff, please. So shove this in there, and unlike the other one with cush core where there was more tension on the bead, you can start to really run the lever around, and then flip it over. Oh, yeah, if you hear that crunch, that's all the old sealant holding the bead on. So, pop this off. Was it just a different sealant that I used? You don't want to get this on your brake rotor, so be mindful of not getting any sealant or anything on your brake rotor. It'll contaminate your brakes. We are going to do the same thing, actually, so tire can hang here for a second. Where's my rag? It's a very rag-intensive step, just because you want to get all the old stuff off, and you want to put all the new stuff on, so rag this. This is the trash can I used to clean my truck out after my road trip. So, yeah, that was quite the thing. Alright. Tire's done. Or rather, wheel is done, tire's not. You'll notice I didn't pull my valve core there. I didn't need to. The cush core makes it so that I have to really kind of get my pressure out, where that one, you're at like 10 psi. Yeah, so this is water, I don't know, oily substance. Not good is whatever it is. I don't know. I think I had my tire aired down for part of my road trip when it rained, so there could have been a breach there. It is kind of oily, so it's definitely a mixture of tubeless sealant. I don't see any nuggets, so I was definitely low on sealant, which is zany and quirky of me. Yep, run the rag around. Use a lot of rags in a bike shop, so if you're planning on starting your own or even working on your own bike, invest in a bulk thing of rags. A lot of people do the t-shirt game, but t-shirts, like old ones, are really only as good as, like, you know, how much substance a t-shirt can absorb. Like, even this little old dish rag is, you know, after a day, after a bike nearing the end of its shelf life. Throw that in there, because it doesn't matter. Alright, so next tire is off. Cool. We'll rag out that again after we let it sit there and have some time to evaporate. Now, maybe asking yourself, what's in store next? Like, what are we doing next? You said wheels and tires and drivetrain. Well, drivetrain's pretty much handled, right? My bike shifts good. I've made sure of that all the time. So what is our next step? Well, next step is going to be our tire, or rather our wheel, needs to be balanced. So when you ride and you thrash and everything, your tires and wheels get not round. So allow me to adjust the camera for a second. We're going to see what we can do here. All right. Oh. This should be a good angle. I'll adjust my lighting a fair bit so that we can all see what I'm talking about. So we do actually want it to be backlit here, funnily enough. So I'll see if I can get my lamp to do that. Alright, you'll see why in a second. So, got this truing stand clamped to the trash can. So we'll pull these teeth apart and we'll drop this down. Now, this is a pain in the ass, but worth it. So, this is on your chewing stand here. You open that up, and you drop this down. Now you can do this with the tire on, but it's better to do it without it, because it gets in the way less. Take my front here, come on over. Now there's a lot of things you can use for this, right? You can put your axle in there or whatever. I prefer to just use like a 10 mil Allen wrench, right? It's nice and easy. Take that and start to close this back up again. I'm going to align this so that, oh, that's not what I wanted to go. So we can, there we go. So this front arm needs to go way down, right? So this needs to go down so that these teeth are touching the edge of this rim. All will become clear momentarily. I don't have a counterweight, which is a pain, because you can pull this down with one hand and then really quick just zoom this in. So pull down. Alright. And then we start to tighten this up. You'll see these arms moving in closer to the rim. And we're going to go down more. And that's not what I wanted. So we're going to twist it till it's tight. And we're going to back the arms off a little. I think mine are imbalanced, actually. I think they don't sit right, but it'll get us close. So Now, you will see, I wish I could, that when I'll just loosen this up so it doesn't touch. So I can spin this here now. And you can see right here that there's a wobble. You can see it even on the screen. Ah! If there's any viewers, please clip that. That's funny as hell. Jesus. All right, so you can see when I spin the wheel that it has a very pronounced wobble to it, right? So that is called a hop. Now, hopping on the wheel means that it is not true. It not being true doesn't mean that it's, it doesn't love me. Of course it loves me. It's my bike. This is the things that we trick ourselves into believing. But it means that the wheel is not round, which is no good. You can see as well, if you look very closely here, there's a dent here in my rim. I have a lot of dents in my rims from hitting rocks and being generally not ideal at bike riding. Also, people who ride bikes really well tend to do this. So, our solution here is pretty simple. What you do is you slowly tighten this. First of all, I'm getting ahead of myself. What you do is you're going to watch. I'm going to take my hands. I'm just going to squeeze all my spokes. And I'm just going to make sure they're tight. Now, I have a spoke tensioner and like a torque spec that I want my spokes at, but if they're tight, they're good, Because we're going to be fucking with all that later. I don't really want to deal too much. I tend to get lost when I do this, so I use the valve right here. So the valve's right here, so I use the valve as kind of like a barometer, as like, hey, I started at the valve. My little torsion check here is going to finish at the valve. So all my spokes are tight. However, as you can see, there is a pronounced hop in my wheel. Now, that's no good. The reason that's no good is because when you're riding, gyroscopic forces will affect how your bike rides. It will be a very bad and sad day. I wonder if there's anyone else I can... I think it would be poor form to put a link into the Discord of the man who is currently streaming. Twitter. There's really nowhere else. Well, if you're here, thank you. I don't know if I count as my one viewer, but I think this is pretty cool stuff. Uh-oh. Am I taking a picture? I can do that in this mode? That's cool as hell. I didn't know I could do that. So, all my spokes are tight. So, I just broke my fucking fingers. So, now that all my spokes are tight, I am going to start to slowly close. So we put it so it touches. You can hear that god-awful noise. Then back it off a hair, and then spin. So when we hear scrape, that means that it's coming this way. And if we look very closely, if you look at the space here, let me see if I can get this light even better for this whole project. Come on, do the thing. There we go. So if you look very closely, if I put my hand behind it, you can see the space start to be increased. It gets very huge over here, and you can actually see that it's hitting over here. You hear that god-awful noise. So currently, it needs to go, look at it, just doing some mental math. So when it touches here, So it turns here. Oh shoot! I have to go get my spoke tool from my toolbox. I will be right back.
Alright, we're going this way. So we don't
All right. So let us see. Could have. Yep, there it is. Cool. Spoke tension tool. That's all I need out of here. We have a Torx multi-tool here, which is kind of wild because while it does show up on bikes, I don't like Torx as a thing. If you're here, feel free to say, hey, I don't bite. I could use the chat company. If not, no big deal. So this is rubbing right here. So that means I'm going to loosen this. Whew. Oh, this thing wound up tight, damn. Now there's a weird, like, alternating reverse thread thing that goes on here. I'm trying to not get in the way of the camera, but there's not really much y'all can see. So, I'm gonna just try to. So that little bit that I just did just caused the wheel to dish back to where I want it to be, which is nice. That's good. And you want to like not only do the spoke that corresponds with the problem, but you also want to do the spokes around it. So with how tight my spokes are, I actually need to loosen a couple of them. And then tighten. In reality, I need a new wheel because this is so terminally fucked. But, you know. Right, so you can hear that double dinger. That's no good. You can see that the hop is now different. Still there, and I think it's always going to be there. I think this wheel is an oval. As funny as that is. So yeah, you're always going to have a little bit of wiggle in this wheel. I'm just trying to make it a little better. So Come on, get on there properly so that I can actually tighten them. There we go. Now that's rubbing less. And it's pretty drastic change from here to here. So you have almost contact at this point of the wheel, and then almost contact here. So this is kind of, in between here is where my problem's going to lie, where it's just wildly out of sort. Let's see here. There's a contact point here, and then contact point here. So we can go get on there, tighten, loosen, tighten. Now we're going to trade. So we're actually going to go tighten this as well. We're going to loosen this. Tighten this. We're going to tighten this. So basically, you're pulling the ring away. So now this tightened as well. Angle it so you can kind of see what I'm working with here. So now, contact here means that this needs to be loosened. This needs to be loosened. This needs to be tightened. And again, this wheel is not round. I'm not going to be able to get perfect. It's just going to have to be what it is. I'm just trying to make it as best as it can be. I have done far too much damage to this wheel to possibly consider it ever being like round again, right? So, you can hear the snapping. I definitely have some of these over torqued. That's not good at all. So this can get tightened, I know. This is quite riveting to watch, isn't it? But gyroscopically, you need this. And now it's time to tighten this. I hope the noise isn't too bad. I'm trying here. You really want to just go quarter turns at a time, because you can destroy it if you just start yarding on spokes. Quarter turns, eighth of turns. This is kind of an exercise in patience. Take this back to the camera, and we can see how well I did. It is still awful, but we're getting it closer. So now our contact point is like here and here. So they're a little closer, but it's still the same thing. Again, I'm not going to be able to get this thing perfect. It is going to be quite the pain in the ass to even get it close. But we're going to try. These spokes were loose, so I'm just going to give them a quarter turn each. This can get a quarter turn. I'll turn this down so you can see what I'm working on again. And I know that this is kind of hard to keep track of through a video, so just bear with me. I also let a new kid practice on my wheels, and he learned quite a bit. he did not, in fact, he was not very kind to my spoke nipples, so. I'm losing the shit out of that. So I have a dent here too, that's part of the reason why it's rubbing so bad. Wheel trimming is one of those things that you just kind of have to do it in order to do it. There's no, like, you know, you can watch as many YouTube guides as you'd like. Oh, that just fucked up. There we go. Just gotta do it. You tighten those and then you loosen this. So now we have hit, hit. So we want tension here. So you can loosen, so I'm going to loosen the everyone hell out of this one. I know you could be watching someone like play video games or something engaging right now, so I ain't keeping you here if you got better shit to do. But this is also what happens when you let your skills go to ruin after a winter of not working on bikes. You start to get slow and forget things. God. So a lot of my spoke nipples are stripped. I'll probably try to build out a new wheel set this year. Oh, come on. It's so fucking stupid. Okay. Ping. Yeah. I believe your brake side is normal thread. Oh, come on, it's this side 0. Let's use it. This is gross. That's also just because I've got a lot of rust and shit built up on my spokes. Genuinely remembering how to like properly thread these is wild. Oh. Riveting, I know. You can hopefully see. Let me see if I can get rag like under here. No. Do it here. We'll grab another one. And I'll do it on the other side. Maybe. Just so you can start to see what I'm talking about. So you can see that start to hit the trimming stand. I'm going to go drastic here. I'm going to way loosening this spoke. So by way loosening this spoke and then tightening these spokes, the override I'm going to loosen this spoke as well. Oh, I have so much stuff going on. Can't help it, my spokes are like seized. So loosen up the two adjacent, and you can see that my wheel is starting to go back to straight. And then loosen up these two, which is going to be righty-loosey on the drive side, not the brake side. Get on there. Go to your home. Okay, that was just destroyed, so we need to size up. Alright, size up work. Like that. 55 this thing up. It's a good kid, so I don't really mind, but I would prefer if he hadn't. Come on, get on there. There's just no helping this one. This is just stripped beyond belief. Yes, this one is now legitimately just wrong. There it is. When in doubt. Where's my round one? Oh, there it is. Okay, this one's just not going to move. Cool. We can work around that. Alright, so we're working around the round one. These are way loose. This is the round. This is not the round one. So these two aren't, which sucks because they're kind of crucial to the whole process, but tighten this fellow. And where is it? spoke nipples. Alright, see how we're doing. Sorry, I'm in the focus zone for this one. Better. A lot better. There's only one pop now. That is right here. I think that's on my round nipples. So I don't really think I can do anything with this one. Ugh, gross. These two nipples being destroyed is really goofing me up. I can get pretty close though. Alright, it doesn't hit anymore. That is a lot better than when we started. However, there's always more to do. I'm not going to sit here and bore y'all, you, one person, with this all day. I'm just going to get it, like, pretty good, you know? Like an acceptable amount of good. These wheels are honestly on their way out anyways. Because all these spoke nipples are super strict because I've been doing this for 3 years of trying to save this bike's life. I just jumped. There's so much tension on this wheel. Oh my god. Oh. Alright. Right by these. I don't want to like destroy them is the issue, so I think we can call that good enough. Got this. Go ahead and bring this over here, and now we have a whole nother wheel to do. So I have to actually tighten up some nipples on that after, but we'll get there. This needs to get wider, because this one's wider, because it has the cassette on it. This is something you could take the cassette off for. However, I don't want to, so I'm not gonna. Go ahead and pop this in here. Tighten this, make sure that it's even. Awesome. Spin that, just so you can get a view of what it looks like as I... So we only have this side over touching, so... You can see it's not too bad. Honestly, it's just a dent. This is as good as I'm going to get it. We'll call it good. Worst case scenario, I have a spare rear wheel. Up there. It actually sells a brand new tire. So, this one right here. I know we already dealt with this thing enough, but and I'm just going to squeeze these and very gingerly, if I remember where I put my spoke tension tool. It's the damn thing so small, it's really hard to keep track of. Oh, I dropped it. Put it on the ground. That's where it belongs, you know? So now I'm literally just going to go squeeze, 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 squeeze. Remember how I talked about losing track of where you were? I just made sure I passed by the valve twice. The valve twice. There we go. There's a valve. See the valve right here? Valve, 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 valve. Cool. Now we'll go to the other side. Squeeze, ooh, squeeze, squeeze, a little loose. And I'm not looking to like yard on these. I'm looking to make sure that like they don't have oodles of tension on them. Hello? No, there's nothing. Ooh. Check my Twitch mobile dashboard. 2 viewers. Let's go. Basically making sure it's not like saggy. You know what I mean? This is a little loose. Remember, lefty tighty. This is the front wheel too, which is always going to be a worse trim than your back wheel, because this is the wheel that you smash into shit with. Also, I don't have a cush core on this one, so it takes impacts a little worse, like really heavy impacts. These are like borderline tension. I don't want to risk it. Yeah, borderline. Oh, see, these are back, so. See how much my phone can move there? That's no good. Put some tension on those. And it's not terrible. So we take those here. Doesn't have to be perfect. If it was a customer bike, I'd definitely put a little bit more time into it. However, where it's my bike, I know the score. I'm not going to be trying to, be perfect with my bike. I know that's just not feasible. So take all this shit here. We need the trash can again, just as trash can. Let's set that down there. All right. So now comes the fun part. Put your tires back on. You might think to yourself, oh, that's easy, right? In theory, yes. In practice, depends on how good you are. So every tire is going to have a shit ton of writing on it, like that. You're going to want that writing, I believe, on the brake side. So there's that. That's going to line up there. And you want your tread to look like it's reversed from the top. So the wheel is going to spin this way, allowing these tractions. So yes, that's how we want this. There's an indicator I'm trying to find for y'all on there. Sometimes I put tires on backwards, so I'm trying to really not make an ass out of myself here, to the point where I'm going to go find some reference. Yeah, text on the brakes. That's how come. So, text goes on the brake side, not the drive side. Brake side being the left side of the tire. Hey, what are you doing? You big goofy. You can hear those spokes kind of settling as I apply my bead. You can kind of lean on them a bit. Let me reorient the camera. It's going to be really funny if this explodes. Hey, Maya. Good girl. Perfect. That's light. So, go ahead, pop your bead back on. But before you get it all the way on, leave a little flange. This. And you're going to take your sealant. I'm going to use orange seal, which I believe is what I used last time. I also like stands. Should be good to go. Go ahead and put my little filler cap on here. Pull my plug out. We are going to stand this up. Stick the little hose in. I'm going to start filling her. You can kind of make a mess when you do this. This is not like, you can just get it on your rim. That's not really a big deal. Big squeeze there. That should be enough. And take a little bit, pop it over there. Now this is a well-weathered tire, so that just popped on easy. Now, everyone's favorite part. This is where you test to see how strong your bead is, and if your tire is still good, because they say you should be wearing eye protection for this. Popping the bead back on. You'll hear a bang here. Hopefully not too loud of a bang. I like to pulse it. Some people are braver than me. You want to go up to at least 40 psi. Now, my ears are going to ring if this pops off the bead. Whew! That's dangerous. So we're going to do that. Double check the bead, make sure none of this. Right here, there's a line. You want to make sure that that's all exposed. Do the same on the other side, just for shits. And we are looking pretty good. But you know what I think I did? I think the bike that I checked had the tires on backwards. So here's our rotation indicator. It goes like this. It just wants to be rotating this way. That's the opposite of the rotation indicator. So I have indeed made a mistake. Okay, to admit you made a mistake. That was just a demo. That's right. It was a demo. I was demonstrating. I was demonstrating. You can put it on backwards, no big deal, no harm. All right, this is getting to be a pain in the ass. So we are going to take my pliers. Actually, we can use the adjustable. Use the adjustable wrench. Tighten it on there. Lefty-loosey. Said lefty-loosey. Get annoyed with it, use your pliers, bitch up the threads, whatever, who cares. Lefty-loosey, 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 lefty-loosey. Lefty-loosey, lefty-loosey, lefty-loosey. Oh, it's been a long winter. I'm not working on bikes if I'm doing that kind of shit. Stand it up so that none of the sealant comes out. Now there's a way to do this without getting all the sealant out. That is going to be very simply put. Pop. Tire lever here. And then we can stand it up. Over there. Quite literally, flip this around right here. Back. Use our hand, just real quick, just pull it up and over. Let it sit, that shouldn't leak out. Push the bead back on. Now, actually, this is a really good time to demonstrate something. So if you just want to set a bead to see if a bead's going to seat, or if you have like a dent in your rim and you want to see if it's going to leak air, you don't need a valve core. So we have our valve right here. You can take your compressor, Put this here. Pop. So I'm up to like 30 right now. That will leave if I take that off my thumb here. Then you can take your Windex or whatever. If you hear a leak or see a leak, you can kind of try to identify it without having to put the valve core back in. Now, and if you can't find a leak, put your thumb over it. Take your valve core, this little guy right here. Crank the shit out of that. A little bit of extra oomph on it with the pliers. I really should find my valve core tool. Cool, that's tight. Loosen that up. Now that your bead's set, got the pressure you want it to be. Set it up to 40 if I want. Please don't explode on me. If you don't have anxiety when you're doing this, you don't respect nature. You can take it, and you can, I like to just throw it, let it spin, throw it, let it spin, throw it, let it spin, dribble like a basketball. Perfect. Now you can drop it down to the pressure you want. I like to run mine around like, I don't know, 30. A lot of people like to run their tires wicked low. I think that's dumb because that's how you destroy rims. I don't want to destroy a rim. So yeah, we're at like 30 psi. That'll be good, especially where I'm going to ride a bike park this weekend. If I was going on trails and doing like some epic hero climb day or whatever, A, shoot me because that's not me. It's not what I do. Let me get a valve cap. But B, I want to have some pressure for the trails, the flow. So that's all set. Put this aside. This tire still has some moisture in it. We don't want that because it will fuck up our sealant. So take another rag, a drier rag, and just kind of start running it around. You can try to get most of these nuggets out. It's not like a huge deal. But I let gravity do the work for me, right? I got most of the moisture out, and then I let it sit. And any moisture that's going to cause a problem, it's going to gather in the bottom. So there's that. Perfect. My rear is a 27.5. So in our 27.5, we've got go and text on drive side should get us. So let's actually find that rotation indicator this time. Try to show you what I mean. Here we go. So this side will be over, just so it's easier to manage. And note how I'm not moving around the tire. A lot of people will move around the tire to do that. Or a trash can. Just spin the wheel on the trash can. That makes it way easy. So pop this over here. Our rotation indicator is right here. I know it's probably not going to focus or have enough light. There we go. So it's right here. It's pointing this way. So when our wheel's on the back of the bike here, when we pedal, it's going to go this way because it wants to push us that way. So we want to rotate this way. So, whoop. And that is what our arrow is indicating. Whoop. Cool. Put this back down here. Get some. All right. Now, this is going to be the pain in the ass. Because we don't just have a tubeless tire. We have cush core. Now, I had front cush core for a while. I didn't really see the need of running it. It's kind of a pain in the ass. I'll show you why. So, goal here, let's flare up that, shove this in with our thumbs, and we have to get our bead around it. Now, this cush core is already stretched out, and you'll see the Pro comes, the difference between the cush core Pro and the regular cush core is that the Pro comes with a notch cut out for your valve to sit, so it takes air easier and doesn't clog. If you have a razor knife and 5 seconds, you can do the same. You can see where I kind of overcut right here. But yeah, cut out your own notch. Save yourself like 40 bucks. I don't know if the Pro's lighter. I'm going to be honest with you. I am not a racer, so I don't really care. Ounces and pounds and all that is cool, but at the same time, you know, I'm not some hardo. Now you want this channel in the middle of the cush core to sit in the middle of your tire, or in the middle of your rim rather. There we go. Now you have to get your bead around that. So push. I got started here. Using my thumbs, so you push down with the meat of your thumb, and then you use your thumbs to kind of tuck as you go. And then you can do the opposite here, right? Because now that we have the bead started, it wants to go in. I usually take my foot to hold down the opposite side of the trash can because I'm flexible and weird. You can do whatever you want. Take a single lever. I use the metal levers. You have to be very careful that you don't fuck up the rim or the tape with this thing because the lever will win in an argument. But I have snapped cush core levers. I've snapped all kinds of shit trying to do this. So, pop, beads on. Now you can see I have a pretty gnarly dent right here. I flattened that dent to the point where it's dent's right here. You can see I flattened it to the point where it will take a bead. This tire will probably die by that dent someday. It'll probably crack if it hasn't already. It's kind of covered up by graphic tape, so I'm not. It rides. That's all we need to know, is it rides, right? Oh, that's a little dangerous. I probably would recommend, I don't know, I'd recommend it because it throws my wheel way off true. So if it's going to explode, it's going to explode from that dent. PSI. We'll listen. I don't hear anything. So I'm going to find my valve core. Oh shit. This is why you put a little catch thing in your trash can. Tighten until it's tight. It'll be tighter. And for my back one, I'm going to probably put it up to about 28 PSI, a little bit lower in the back, not by much. Up to my preferred pressure. Close this. I actually lost my valve core, or my valve cap cover for this. Cool. Hiss. This way, you can get the cassette. Kind of like with the hula hoops in gym class back in the day. I don't know if any of y'all did that. Where you'd like use the force to get the hula hoop to come back to you. That's what I think of whenever I do that. So, pull that out. Here I have a whole container with valve covers. Now, the front I have purple on. And the back has cush core in it. So let's see if I can find a green cush core cover. I think that'd be pleasing. I'm not really like trying to color coordinate this hard. Some people do. I don't know. It's not my jam. I do like metal covers though, because they don't like get destroyed and litter the trail as much. Plastic covers will eventually like kind of weaken as they're exposed to sun and to, you know, all that, all the elements. But so here we go. 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 And here we go. All set. Nice. Now, go ahead and get rid of this trash can. Go ahead and adjust our lighting. And adjust our camera. So, we are going to check on how our chain is doing. First step. So, pop this glove back on. Oh, awesome. So, you really want to get old peppers onto your chain. I mean, it's got to get cleaned off anyways, so we're going to have to rag this off. So, yeah, so, I mean, we could try to, like, remove the rust, but just WD-40 it and then rag me off. Where is my edit button? This will be sufficient, I believe. Gloved up. Smells like orange chicken and WD-40, which is a wonderful combination. Let's see if I have like a metal brush here. A bunch of soft, nice brushes. Yeah, I don't think I have a wire brush. I do have a Brillo pad. No, I don't. I have a file, and I can just cut my chain in half. That's sick. Yeah, I don't think I have what I need. This is a stiff brush. Yeah, this is a stiff brush. This will be fine. So we're going to take a stiff brush. And we're just going to start to brush down our chain. Honestly, I'll probably wind up with a new chain within a month. I just have to start working at a bike shop again so that I don't have to pay retail. This will just get, you know, any rust that'll come off will come off with even just a stiff bristle brush. We're not looking for perfection here. We're looking for just enough, you know, just to get me through some laps at the bike park, maybe some laps in town with my dad. That'd be nice. I can't wait to see him this weekend. All right. That's closed. Put that over. The brush can go over here because it's going to be cleaned. All right. That's a chain, so quite easily we can take, unfold it, make sure it doesn't get tangled. Bike chains love to get tangled. And we can, I'm just going to do it down here so I don't have to adjust the camera and take my gloves off again. Whoop. 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 Now, throw that right away. Take some muck off drivetrain cleaner. Take our clean rag, partition part of it, spray some of this on here, spray some of this on my hand. Whoop. 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 Gets all the orange chicken out. Blocking my view. Here we go. All right. Take our chain. Make sure we're on the actual cleaner part. All right. Get some on the actual chain. And now, riveting. We are, for the person who just joined, we are wiping grease off of my chain so that we can grease it again with a different grease. I know, riveting. Just doing this, trying to get it all. I could go between the links if I wanted to go ham, but no. Take one glove off. Chain should be relatively non-greasy by now. Whoop. Yeah, that's ungreased enough. So now that we've taken all the grease off the chain, we are going to take the grease we want on the chain. And this will be a little life hack for you. Take the grease you want. And you can literally put it on the rag just like we did with the cleaner. Kind of soak the rag. And then, same thing, look at that. Soak the rag in it. We run it through our hands. Applying the grease to the chain. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. That cleaner is going to need to be ready. Put it right down now so the dog doesn't lick it. Cool. So our chain is clean. That can get set off to the side, or actually I'm just going to hang it right there because we're going to need it in a second. The glove can come off, and time to adjust the scene. Alright, for the purposes of our next demonstration, I'm going to flip my bike around 180 degrees. Go. This side, so you can see the front fork. Good enough for government work. All right. A little lefty loosey here. I'm going to take this up. Crank this back down here. And oh, look at that. I completely messed up my little contrast thing with insulation. That should be almost good enough. Yeah, sure. Fuck it. Why not? There we go. Yeah, I need contrast. So, easily enough. Take my front wheel and put it on because I don't really need to work with it. Just need to put it on. So pull out our little brake block. I can go back in our brakes drawer. Find our front axle, which should be this fella right here, the Maxle. That is RockShox's axle. Now, I didn't eat a lot of breakfast, so I'm probably going to have to end the stream soon. I need lunch. All right. It's 6 more. What? You good girl? Okay. Now for like the actual involved part of all this. Rear tire. Take out a brake block. It's back in the brake parts drawer. Pull our derailleur down. Now on a Shimano 12-speed or any derailleur, there's no lockout like RockShox or like SRAM. There is a clutch. So you just turn the clutch off. Like this. Move it out of your way. Wiggle it how you need to. It goes up here. Hold it in one hand. Rear axle already greased from yesterday or the day before, whatever day it came last. Shove that in there. Take this and tighten. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. But one problem. Our rear tires still we have no chain. So easy peasy. Take your chain. SRAM chains, it matters which way it goes. Shimano, it does not. Go ahead, hop down here, go to our completely fucked crank. Get this on right. Once it's on, you can kind of thread it through. Pull this through. Once that's pulled through, untangle your chain. That will inevitably be tangled because they love to get tangled. Pull this through. Pull. And pull. Make sure you're on the right side of everything. You want to be on the inside of your rear triangle for this bike and for most bikes because they do that to protect the chain. If you're not, that's a weird bike. I don't like it. Don't bring it near me. Here we go. Get that all the way down there. Get this in the proper gear. And we're going to feed this down in. Chain go here. False. Chain go here. Pull through. Feed this down over the rear jockey wheel. Make sure you don't get it all tangled in the actual cage arm. Pull this through. It got tangled again, as chains are wont to do. Here we go. Now, this can go to its proper configuration. Pull it so there's tension on the chain. Pull your chain up here. Find the master link you so carelessly threw away. It's right here. I didn't really throw it away. All right, so let go of that. Snap your chain up. Nothing of consequence really happens. But yes. Take your master link, put one side through here. I like to preload it. Put one side through here. Pull. Find either end. Get them to interface. Once they've started to interface, you can either hold your rear brake and crank on your pedal, or if you're fancy and cute like me, you have chain pliers, swear I have J. Oh, these aren't the double-sided ones that I thought I owned. Where are the double-sided ones I thought I owned? Ahem. And you have J.